Hello, everybody. Scott Golden here with the Golden Opportunities Coaching and Pro Wrestling Logic YouTube channels. We are here with the WCW Saturday Night Review Series, which continues here with the Halloween night, October 31st, obviously, 1992 edition of the program. Nothing too very Halloweeny or spooky, but decent show here. Kevin Nash, aka at the time known as Vinny Vegas, versus Marcus Bagwell. They go at it for what amounts to way too long. Vegas, of course, teaming with friend in real life and in character, Dallas Page, but he's not out here today. Some brawling by Vegas, and Bagwell comes back at him. Vegas actually goes to the second rope on the inside, hits Bagwell on the back of the head or neck, depending on your angle of vantage point, and crushes him pretty well. Bagwell hits a couple of diving, almost what you'd want to call dive blocks, but not really. They're rather weak looking. Bagwell is still in what WCW is calling, I think, his second year of competitive action. I don't know how true that is, but anyway, he works over the leg of his opponent for quite a while here. Vegas comes up and sends him into the buckle. The fact they give these guys almost 10 minutes, if not more, including such wonderful things as forearm shots, a decent gut wrench suplex by Vegas, to be fair, and some chin locks, is rather ugly looking, to be completely honest. Vegas having trouble getting rid of Bagwell, which doesn't make sense in the light of the fact that if you think about it, in less than 2 years from this point, or just about 2 years, Vegas is your WWF champion, so that's kind of interesting to think about there. He does get a victory, does Vinny Vegas, in reasonably, I guess you'd say, appropriate order. Hard shots by Bagwell, and again, it's what's there, and some back elbow stuff, but finally, Vegas does get a victory there. There is a confrontation between Johnny B. Bad and Scotty Flamingo. Johnny B. Bad basically saying that he's the prettiest man, and Flamingo calling him not so pretty. They end up going into a boxing match at the pay-per-view. Rex Cooper and I believe David Lynch against Texas Slashinger and Shanghai Pierce up next. Slashinger and Pierce later go on to be the Godwins in their WWF, but they're doing a Texas gimmick here. Really simple stuff, nothing to be terribly worried about. Pierce wearing a mask for reasons that were never quite defined within the world of WCW. Hard clothesline by Tex, and he goes pretty well after his opponent here, choking and some basic stuff along the way, and some shots, and it's really not going according to plan. We see the new heel tag team, who are Texas born, Texas bred, and they'd probably be happy being Texas dead, hit everything from a shot to the midsection and leg drop to the back of the head, among other things, and they eventually get a victory here. Obviously, one-sided squash. Then we see another squash, this time with Brian Pillman. Pillman now doing the heel bit, basically drops the knee and other things upon his opponent, hits some drop kicks, but doesn't do nearly as much high-flying stuff as he used to. Insults Brad Armstrong along the way. Shane Douglas also comes out to challenge Pillman and basically calls him a bit of a scumbag. They promo the King of Cable thing, and needless to say, King of Cable tournament continues. Sting's going to be part of that, and ultimately ends up winning. Sting and Flying Brian and Rude, or not Rude, yeah, Rick Rude and Barry Windham, and there's a whole bunch of other matches. Let me see if I can get the brackets here, just to run you through. Rude finally breaking away from what was the Dangerous Alliance at this point. The King of Cable will come with a trophy and basically not much else. The trophy's very nice looking, but not necessarily sure what they were doing, trying to get victory. Sting and Flying Brian, Barry Windham and Rick Rude, Jake Roberts and Dustin Rhodes, and Big Van Vader, and let's see, Vader is in the tournament as well, and he's kind of, I mean, they're basically going, and I thought Roberts was gone right after this, so my mistake on that, and Roberts at least around right after, and it's Tony Atlas and Big Van Vader, which does not sound like a desirable match. Anyway, we continue things going. Atlas looks, well, not great. Johnny Gunn and an enhancement talent in there. Gunn, of course, basically looks like a poor man's Tom Zink. And, that's there, and it's okay, but it's certainly not things that anybody really, really wants. Some power flexing stuff, and interesting that he gets top billing. Basically, it's a very, very old school, almost 80s style match here. Babyface does all the power spots. Hooks on the arm and goes at him pretty well, and ultimately hits a cross body and shoulder tackle and a Fez press. 1, 2, 3, and away we go. Nothing terribly exciting there. Then we see the saga between Paul Heyman and Medusa and Rick Rude. They do show a bunch of footage from the time at the Halloween Havoc, which I will review if I ever get around to doing the Havoc pay-per-view. But suffice to say, Rude is breaking away from Paul Heyman and siding with Medusa. They continue to fight. Cactus Jack out, and they show a last week where Tony Atlas says that Ron Simmons is not worth caring about. Robbie Walker, who they originally called Bobby Walker, same guy, different name. Robbie and Bobby, I guess, are close enough. Anyway, Tony Atlas out there with Cactus Jack, who is the opponent of Walker. Jack sells for Walker, which is mighty generous of him. Arm bars and very basic stuff by Walker. Doesn't really get all he wants on Jack. Jack sends Walker to the outside at a point. Tony Atlas does interfere short term. Not long term, because there isn't really long term to the match. Walker does have a good body, but that's about it. Jack kicks him in the midsection and cuts him off here. Tosses to the outside, and away we go. Ultimately, there is a rolling thunder crack smash off the apron, and that's just about it. Dustin Rhodes does a sit-down interview and tries to take up for Barry Windham. Basically says they've been friends for a long time. Also says they've been friends since childhood and endorses his father. Jake Roberts basically says he's going to take out Dustin Rhodes in the King of Cable tournament and cause chaos for everyone, including Ron Simmons and the continuation of Sting. Roberts is completely, obviously, very aggressively motivated here. We move towards another match, and now we've got the continuation of Nikita Koloff. Koloff in a squash match of his own. Never thought I'd see Nikita Koloff hitting a bunch of arm drags, arm bars, and the like. Finally hits the Russian sickle and gets the victory. Then we kind of see that Michael P.S. Hayes says that he is endorsing the team of Bobby Eaton and Anderson. There's a breakdown there. Heyman asks if he can be at ringside for the match between Eric Watts and beautiful Bobby. And Michael Hayes acquiesces. Watts is in no position to be in a Saturday night main event, or WCW Saturday night main event slot, not to be confused with WWF Saturday night's main event program. Arm bars, head scissors, and the like by Watts. Watts really doesn't get a great deal of energy, emotion, or consistency here. And we kind of see Watts doing everything he can to back Bobby Eaton up. Doesn't get all he wants on it, gets enough though, and manages to hook the man into his wherewithal, and short shot by Eaton, trying to do everything he can to keep the match going. Watts even has difficulty running the ropes at a point. Certainly not a match to go out of your way to see, especially with the fact they've given it about 15 minutes, which is about 11 minutes too long. Eaton does take the man down, tries to leg grapevine him, tries to do everything he possibly can to get an advantage. Some of it legal, some of it not. Doesn't really matter to anybody who is paying attention. We see Eaton continue to work on the leg of his opponent, and that is pretty continuous and conspicuous. Spends the next several minutes doing so, as a matter of fact. Eaton goes to the outside and goes to the top rope, which now top ropes are once again legal in WCW after a several-month experiment, but misses the Alabama Jam. Watts comes up behind and hits an octopus hold, where he eventually almost falls into things. Hayes comes in and starts double teaming on Watts. So Watts taking Hayes and Bobby Eaton down. He goes over the top rope, does Eaton body slam, and Michael Hayes is in the ring, and in a match that he's not in, Michael Hayes loses to Eric Watts. So, goofy booking here in 1992. We'll be back with more of this right after this. Hopefully you enjoy it. We've got over 1,200 of these old school, new school, and all points in between. We'll be back right here on Pro Wrestling Logic.